folks, welcome back to Thunder Mesa Studio and this new series of videos on building the ON30 ON18 Calico Mountain expansion to the Thunder Mesa layout. In this series, I'll take you step by step through every phase of the build, from basic benchwork to track and wiring, scenery, backdrop painting, and all the final details. Building a new section of layout is a lot like starting from scratch. So even if you're new to the hobby, there will be plenty of tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use in your own build. In this first episode, we'll be giving the new layout section a solid foundation with benchwork and roadbed. But before we get started, let's take a closer look at the plan. After all, everything starts with pencil and paper.
The new Calico Mountain section is just 3 by 5 feet and will be divided into scenic and backstage areas by an extension of the existing backdrop. Thunder Mesa's ON30 main line will loop through scenes on the lowest level, with the option of returning back through Calico Town via reverse loop or continuing on to the staging yard in a continuous run back around the layout. On a higher level, ON18 tracks will make a lazy figure 8, winding in and out of the mountain and crossing over itself on a 90-degree grade crossing. Now, with all of that in mind, let's begin translating these plans into 3 dimensions. The first step was a trip to my local home center, where I picked out a 4 by 8 sheet of 1/2-inch plywood and had them cut it down to 36 by 60 inches. Then, taking careful measurements from my plan, I laid out the route of the ON30 tracks full size, along with the shapes and locations of areas that needed to be removed for below track level scenery. A sturdy box frame was built to size from 1 by 4 stock, and the plywood deck was cut out with a jigsaw, making sure to allow plenty of allowance for the ON30 roadbed. Note that everything here is put together with coarse thread drywall screws. It makes for a quicker job and easier changes should that be necessary. The deck was braced with 1 by 3s and elevated above the box frame on 1 by 2-inch risers. This is what I call box and stilt style benchwork, and it works very well when you want scenery both above and below track level. I also repurposed the cutout sections of plywood from the deck as a base for the lowest level of scenery. Now, to be clear, no one has ever accused me of being a great carpenter, and I have seen some beautiful furniture quality benchwork done by others over the years. But this is what works for me. If it's not going to show, I don't worry too much about how it looks. I do my very best to get everything plumb and level for the trains to run well. It's the same basic construction I've used on the entire Thunder Mesa layout, and that's held up pretty well over the last 10 years or so.
Let's take a closer look at the stand for the new section. I prefer to build a stand separate from the layout benchwork to make the whole thing easier to move if the need ever arises. As you can see, the stand is made from basic dimensional lumber, with 2 by 2s for the legs and 1 by 2s for the cross bracing. At the top, we have these L girders made from 1 by 3s and 1 by 2s to support the layout section. And on the bottom, a sturdy frame supported by casters, so the section can be wheeled out to work on more easily.
Once again, the layout benchwork is attached to the stand with drywall screws, so it's easy to remove. 3 on each side ought to do it. To align the new section of layout and hold it firmly in place to previous sections, good old 3-inch C-clamps are used. I've tried bolts, alignment pins, and other things, but I find this simple and inexpensive solution still works better or just as well as anything else. Now I recheck and darken the track center lines on the layout deck in preparation for the next step. And with that, this new section is ready to become part of Thunder Mesa's miniature world. I really do enjoy building things like this, and while I'm no pro carpenter, I do know that there are a few simple rules to follow when building model railroad benchwork. First, start with a good plan. Always measure twice and cut once. Choose the highest quality lumber you can afford and make sure it's straight and dry. Plan for scenery both above and below track level. Drill pilot holes for your screws to keep the wood from splitting, and countersink the heads where they might interfere with scenery, track, or fascia. Check and recheck that your benchwork and deck are level. And above all, always wear safety glasses and follow the instructions that come with your power tools. In the next episode of this series, we'll be adding cork roadbed to our layout deck, and we'll get started with laying the track. But that's going to do it for this time. Thanks for tuning in. And a huge thank you to the Thunder Mesa patrons who helped to make this project and these videos possible. You can become a Thunder Mesa patron at patreon.com/thundermesa. If you want to follow this series, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be alerted when new episodes are released. Keep moving forward, amigos. Adios for now.